Buenas tardes, es un placer para el festival tener como gran premio honorífico en este 50 aniversario una figura, un actor que resume perfectamente mucho más que estos 50 años de cine fantástico, sino de cine en general y de actuación. Estamos ante un gran nombre del teatro y del cine. Y bueno, sin más presentación más, thank you for coming, Frank Langella. Aquí estamos con Langella. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Es Q&A, ¿no?
Yes, I know.
Es un formato de Q&A, es decir, que podéis empezar a preguntar.
You Q, I will A.
Si vosaltres pregunteu, jo contestaré, eh?
Yes. You need a microphone?
Sí, tiene.
Okay.
Mr. Langella, it's a pleasure have to hear this afternoon. Me gustaría preguntarle, siendo un actor de su veteranía, ¿por qué no ha coincidido con con el director Kenneth Branagh y con el director Woody Allen en alguna de sus películas? Debido, a la larga trayectoria que tiene y, Woody Allen por ser neoyorquino, igual que el señor Langella, y Kenneth Branagh por ser un actor shakespeariano, al igual que es Langella, el señor Langella.
How come an actor with such a long career like you has never worked with Kenneth Branagh, who is actually a Shakespearean author like you, or with Woody Allen, who is also from New York, like yourself?
Who was the second?
Woody Allen. Woody Allen.
Oh, Woody Allen, yeah. Well, they've never asked me. The closest I came to working with Kenneth was making a film with his then wife, Emma Thompson, thank you. And I only met Woody Allen once, and it was a film I don't remember. It's at least 20-some odd years ago. And I remember I didn't want to go. My agents were going constantly, it's Woody Allen, and I had really no strong interest. But I finally was persuaded to go, and he didn't say hello at all. He just walked into the room, and I wasn't asked to read anything. I just sat there like that, and he just walked around me in a circle like this. And I left and didn't get the part. So I have no desire to work with Woody Allen. That's
Doncs la veritat és que no m'ho han demanat mai que hi treballés. El més a prop que vaig estar d'en Kenneth va ser en una pel·lícula, la seva dona en aquella època, l'Emma Thompson, i pel que fa a Woody Allen només el vaig veure en una ocasió, ja fa més de 20 anys, en una pel·lícula d'aleshores. La meva agència va insistir molt perquè hi anés, jo en principi no hi volia anar, però finalment em van convèncer, jo hi vaig anar, em vaig asseure allí, Woody Allen va entrar i no em va saludar, de fet va passar de llarg, em va rodejar, no em va dir res i vaig marxar i no em va donar cap paper.
Unless, of course, it's a great part. Say that.
I ha estat un gran paper.
Yes.
Oh, vale.
Sorry.
Esta pregunta seguramente ya se habrá hecho, me la he perdido, pero no va tanto para el señor Langella, sino para Ángel Sala.
¿Yo?
Sí, porque va relacionada, quiero decir. Me consta que el Mr. Langella ha sido largamente deseado, por fin está en Sitges este año, redondeando el 50 aniversario. Entonces quisiera que Ángel me dijeras qué significa para Sitges que esté Langella en este caso, y luego le reboto la pregunta a Langella, ¿qué significa para él estar en Sitges en este año tan especial?
So probably this question has already been asked. My question is addressed first to Ángel Sala. The festival in Sitges has wanted Mr. Langella to be here for a long time. So how did you finally get him here? What does it mean to you, Ángel? What does it mean to you to be here, Mr. Langella?
Well, I was asked to come this year, to my memory, for the very first time. I don't remember being asked before. And it means absolutely nothing to be here, which of course is not true. I don't think I could be more happy and excited than I am at having arrived here, because it isn't what I expected. Certainly I expected to be treated nicely, but I wasn't prepared for the seriousness with which Angel and his staff take this particular genre. Let's do it in pieces, okay?
Doncs la veritat és que aquest és el primer any que em demanen que vingui, que jo recordi. O sigui que això no significa res per a mi, el fet d'estar aquí. No, és broma. La veritat és que estic contentíssim d'estar aquí, estic molt emocionat, perquè la veritat és que ha estat una sorpresa. Jo ja esperava que em tractessin bé, però el que no esperava és fins a quin punt, amb quina serietat, Àngel i el seu equip aborden aquest gènere del cinema.
Not to mention how good the food is. That's really wonderful. But I'm hoping Angel will ask me back. I'm going to start a movie next year, somewhere in the spring, called Quiet World, which is a movie that has one character in it who has invented a machine to help mankind be better. But something goes wrong and he freezes the world. Everything stops. A little baby is falling out a window and it stops in midair, and someone is painting a wall, a couple are making love. Everything freezes in the world. And he spends 40 years of his life trying to unlock the horror that he's done. It's called Quiet World. And it's going to be written, it is being written now, and directed by a young 24-year-old man called Mickey Keating, who has a film here this year called Psychopath. And he was meant to be here, but he has a television series. So maybe Angel will ask me for the second time.
Will be a pleasure.
Doncs per nos... Estic molt a gust aquí, per no esmentar, evidentment, que el menjar és boníssim i m'agradaria que l'Àngel em tornés a convidar. El meu proper projecte és una pel·lícula que es titula Quiet World. És una pel·lícula d'un personatge que inventa una màquina per millorar la humanitat. Però alguna cosa surt malament i tot el món queda congelat. Hi ha diverses accions que queden congelades, hi ha un nadó que cau, hi ha algú que està pintant una paret, també es queda congelat, una parella que fa l'amor, també es queden congelats, i després el protagonista inverteix 40 anys de la seva vida a intentar solucionar el problema. Ara mateix s'està escrivint aquesta pel·lícula, és d'un jove director, un director de 24 anys, que s'anomena Mickey
Keating.
Mickey Keating.
Mickey Keating, sorry.
Yes, that's all right. No,
Mickey Keating.
it's not your first language.
Hi ha una pel·lícula seva que es projecta en aquesta edició del Festival de Sitges, però ell no ha pogut assistir-hi.
Contestando con lo que me decías, todo director tiene algo de, al dirigir un festival, de sus propios gustos. Evidentemente no se puede evitar ser subjetivo, y yo hace tiempo que tenía en la lista a Fran Langella, porque era uno de... Langella. Porque era uno de mis actores favoritos. Me gusta este tipo de actores y te diré que después de conocerle es de ese tipo de invitados que hace este festival grande. Así que estoy muy contento de conocerle en persona, porque no solamente no ha sido lo que esperamos, sino mucho más.
Okay, I forgive you.
Et perdono.
Sí?
Right there.
Bona tarda. Hola.
Oh, hello.
Senyor Langella,
How do you
bona
do?
tarda, benvingut
for you.
a Barcelona. Li volia preguntar un parell de qüestions sobre la pel·lícula Dràcula, i era què va significar per vostè la trobada, la col·laboració que va tindre amb dues llegendes que surten a la pel·lícula, una físicament a la pel·lícula, com és Sir Laurence Olivier, què va significar per vostè treballar amb un personatge com ell, què li va reportar i què va aprendre, si podia aprendre alguna cosa. I l'altre és, com a aficionat a la música de cine, m'agradaria preguntar-li si coneix el treball de John Williams per la pel·lícula i què pensa que va aportar a la pel·lícula quan encara no era conegut, perquè John Williams va sortir, bueno, no era conegut fora al gros, fins 2 anys després amb Star Wars, però abans ja havia fet obres mestres, evidentment. Què va significar per vostè col·laborar amb aquests dos personatges?
So, welcome to Barcelona.
That took all that time? Welcome to Barcelona.
Now, a couple of questions about Dracula.
Yes, I can tell.
Now, you were working in that movie with Laurence Olivier, who is quite a legend. What did working with him mean? What did working with him give you, on the one hand? And on the other hand, you're quite fond of soundtracks. You were working with John Williams in this movie. He was not that popular at that time. What did you think that Mr. Williams bring to this movie, to Dracula?
Well, in 2 parts, John Williams' score for Dracula, I guess it's because I'm Dracula that I find it really thrilling. And see, now I'm answering your question and you're talking to somebody else. John Williams, that's all right. John Williams wrote one of the most beautiful scores I have ever heard. I know it's because I'm prejudiced, but I think his music did certainly an extraordinary amount for the mood of this film and for my character in particular. My entrance music and the love music and even the horror music, which is really elegant, is I think adds an enormous amount. That's part 1, and then I'll tell you about Olivier after we listen to Marta.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So, la feina de John Williams va ser increïble. Va fer una de les bandes sonores més maques que he sentit en la meva vida. La seva música va contribuir moltíssim a la pel·lícula, a l'ambient, a l'atmosfera de la pel·lícula i a la meva feina en concret. Va fer una música elegant per a cada moment de la pel·lícula.
Sir Laurence Olivier was, at the time we made this movie, an old, horribly old man of 75. And I am now 5 years older than he was. And I remember I was 39 or 40, I guess. And I kept thinking, how is he going to get across the set? You know, how is he going to survive the movie? You know, if I touch him, he's going to fall over. He's 75. And I kept thinking all the time that he was going to die when we were making the film. I thought, well, then they'll have to get somebody else and I'll get more money. And it was just really, I had mixed feelings. He did the film for money. He was not shy about saying that. And he made 3 times more money than I did. He had an enormous salary. He was at that time, you know, the great English actor of his time. His contemporaries had died. He didn't take it very seriously, really. He didn't care. But he's a marvelous actor in so many ways. And he was fun to be around personally. He took me out to dinner for the first month almost every night, and then I finally turned to somebody and said, who's going to take Larry tonight? Because I can't hear one more Vivian Lee story. I just can't take it. But he was silly, a little camp, and didn't have any respect for the legend of Dracula at all. And there was one scene I remember we did where he was, oh, that's right, he was supposed to cut his finger. Dracula comes in the room and he's doing something and he pricks his finger and the blood comes out, and I looked at his finger and then he's supposed to go like that. He wouldn't do that. He just wouldn't do it. And the director went to him, the producer went to him, I finally went to him. He said, no, dear boy, I just don't like that. I'm not going to do it. So we all said, but Larry, it's about blood. The movie's about a man who needs it, and you see that he wants it. No, dear, that's it. Yeah.
Doncs, pel que fa a la feina amb en Laurence Olivier, en aquella època ell era un home terriblement vell, tenia 75 anys i jo ara en tinc 4 més que ell en aquella època. Jo aleshores en tenia 39 i la veritat és que tenia els meus dubtes sobre si aquell senyor sobreviuria al rodatge. Tenia la sensació que només de tocar-lo cauria per terra, que moriria durant el rodatge i haurien de buscar algú per substituir-lo. La veritat és que Laurence Olivier va fer aquesta pel·lícula per diners i no tenia cap problema a admetre-ho. El seu salari era molt elevat, era com 3 vegades el meu. D'altra banda, era molt divertit estar amb ell. Durant el primer mes del rodatge, gairebé cada nit em duia a sopar amb ell. Era un home una mica poca solta, no tenia cap respecte per la llegenda del Dràcula. Recordo una escena de la pel·lícula en què ell es talla un dit i aleshores se'l porta a la boca. Jo, el meu personatge, el personatge del Dràcula, me'l quedo mirant, ell es llepa el dit i ell no volia fer aquesta escena. Tots li vam insistir perquè la fes, tant jo mateix com el productor, com el director, però no hi havia manera. I nosaltres insistíem dient-li, però és que la pel·lícula tracta justament d'això, de la sang.
Also, I remember at the very end of the movie, I take a stick with a big sword, or I don't know what it was, a pointed stick, and I drive it into his chest, and I drive him against the wall and kill him. And the director, John Badham, was giving instructions over a microphone to Larry, telling him, now the big guy's coming for you, be careful. It was really hilarious to listen to these directions to the great Olivier. And now he's got you, you're dead. And Larry's like this, and you hear the director say in his earphone, close your eyes, Larry.
Cap al final de la pel·lícula hi ha una escena en què el personatge d'en Larry, d'en Laurence Olivier, jo li clavo una estaca, el clavo contra la paret i jo sentia com el director, entretant, li anava donant instruccions. Va ser, la veritat, hilarant. O sigui, representava que estava matant, efectivament, el seu personatge, Dràcula estava matant el personatge d'en Larry, però ell s'estava així com quiet, i entretant el director l'havia d'instruir dient-li, però tanca els ulls, Larry.
Hola, bona tarda. Senyor Langella, perdó. I know. Estic realment content de tenir-lo aquí davant perquè vostè és és un actor que ha treballat en una de les meves pel·lícules favorites de tota la vida. Per mi el seu Dràcula és quasi es pot dir que la millor versió de Dràcula que he vist. Crec que hi ha molta gent que ho comparteix. I volia dir-li com se sentia havent participat en aquesta pel·lícula de Dràcula en el moment que es va estrenar, que potser no va tenir l'èxit que mereixia, i 40 anys després, com se sent ara d'haver treballat aquella pel·lícula, és a dir, com se sent dels resultats d'aquesta versió de Dràcula, que torno a insistir, per mi i per molta gent és una de les millors que s'ha fet a la història del cine, de les millors. Jo ho sento però no suporto la del Coppola, ja sé que tothom em dirà de tot ara, però bueno. I la segona pregunta que volia fer-li és si s'ho va passar també en 2 pel·lícules menors com són Masters de l'Universo i Cut Road Island, com nosaltres ens ho passem de bé veient-lo com vostè s'ho passa de bé en aquelles pel·lícules. Realment es veu que estava disfrutant i volia saber si era així, si realment s'ho va passar tan bé com nosaltres veient-lo. Gràcies, senyor Langella.
You're welcome, I think.
Estic molt content d'estar aquí. Ai, sorry.
Es en catalán. What? He said in catalan.
Sorry.
Marta and I are going to tour the country doing a comedy act.
Anem a fer una gira, la intèrpret i jo, pel país i farem una comèdia.
Except Catalan, of course.
En català, naturalment. I'm so happy that you're here because you've actually worked in my favorite movies. To me, your Dracula is the best in history, and I think that many people would agree with me. My question is, how did you feel when your movie was released 40 years ago? How did you feel about it, and how do you feel about it now? And he added that he can't stand Coppola's version of Dracula.
Well, you have good taste, thank you. I felt not good about it when it opened because, as I said at the introduction of the film, I don't know if any of you were there, I'll repeat myself, they really wanted it to be like Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, despite the fact that they had seen me do it on Broadway to great success, romantically, with no blood, no wolf's eyes, no blood ever, and no fangs. They thought that when I came to England to shoot the movie, as they always do with actors, that we'll talk him into it, we'll find a way to make him do it. And actually they failed at that, except the last moments of the film I deplore. I think they're terrible, and I always regretted that I climbed up there and screamed and yelled with, Rice Krispies all over my face. What redeems the movie is Kate Nelligan's face looking at him flying away. But the 2 or 3 moments when I'm in the sun burning up, I find appalling, and I always wish I hadn't done them. That said, I think the film is much, much better today than I remembered it to be. They maintained, well, this sounds like I'm complimenting myself, but they did maintain almost everything I wanted in the character. And had they chosen not to do all of what I consider cheap, bloody, silly wolf's eyes, they made the leading lady do it, and they made other characters. I think it would have been a classic film. I think it would have been an A+ film. As it was, I think it's about a B+, B- even. Careful, Marta, careful.
Doncs té molt bon gust, gràcies. La veritat és que no em vaig sentir molt bé quan va sortir la pel·lícula. M'estic repetint ja coses que ja les he dit en altres intervencions, i és que els estudis volien un Dràcula de l'estil de Christopher Lee, tot i que havien vist la meva interpretació de Dràcula a Broadway, on no hi havia ni sang, ni ullals, etc. Però es van dir a si mateixos que trobarien la manera que jo encarnés aquesta mena de Dràcula. La veritat és que en aquesta pel·lícula les últimes seqüències són francament terribles, també les escenes en què jo em cremo amb el sol em semblen absolutament desastroses, però la veritat és que al final ha acabat sent una pel·lícula millor del que em va semblar en aquell moment. Val a dir que els estudis van conservar pràcticament tot el que jo volia que sortís en aquell Dràcula. I els aspectes, diguem, més banals, més barats, de menys categoria, al final no hi van sortir. Jo, si hagués de classificar aquesta pel·lícula, diria que es queda per sota del que seria una pel·lícula de cinema B. There was one more question, yes. Mr. Langella.
Yes.
It was about your 2 minor movies, Masters of the Universe and the one about the island. Can't remember the title.
Oh, God.
Yeah. The question was, did you enjoy working on those movies just like we enjoy?
Cutthroat Island is a lousy movie. It's just a terrible, terrible movie. It cost $110 million and it made $3 million. It was one of the worst experiences of my career. It was 7 or 8 months in Malta and Thailand, and it was at a time when the leading lady and the director were married and enjoying a short-lived success in films, and they were given any toy that they wanted. And I thought the film turned out terribly. And what happened was that Matthew Modine, who was playing the young leading man, and I was playing the villain, those roles were enormous. They were 1, 2, and 3 characters made up the film. But you know, you can't fight with an actress who's sleeping with the director. It doesn't work. So I guess on the pillow every night she said, cut that one, cut that one. So our parts get smaller and smaller, which in a way was a blessing. But it really is, it's a historic film because it is one of 2 or 3 of the worst disasters in the history of film. And I think if you're going to be in a bad movie, it might as well be one of the worst movies ever made. And the other one was, I love Masters of the Universe. I love Masters of the Universe because it is also very bad. But it is bad in the most wonderful way. You know, it really is like the cheap seats in a movie house. It's just, I adore that movie. And I love Skeletor. I had the most fabulous time. I made the movie for my 4-year-old son, who was in love with He-Man and would run around our apartment with a sword in his pajamas. And then he'd say, I have the power. And when Gary Goddard called and asked me if I wanted to play Skeletor, I didn't even think about it. I said, of course. And we spent 2 months rewriting Skeletor's role. I didn't care about anybody else. I just wanted to make Skeletor a thrilling villain. So we took Joseph, who wrote The Man with 1,000 Faces? Joseph Conrad? No, I can't remember who. The great philosopher who wrote lines like, tell me about the loneliness of good, He-Man. Is it equal to the loneliness of evil? These were all written by this man, and we took them all from the book. It was a wonderful cast of actors. Everybody had, we sort of felt we were making something kind of silly, but we threw ourselves into it completely. It wasn't an easy time for Dolph Lundgren because Dolph was not an actor. He's the first person to tell you that. And although he's been doing it, and he's been not acting for 40 years now. But he really was, he was doing push-ups before every take, you know. Most actors before a take are thinking about, Dolph was doing a push-up, and then he'd do the line, then he'd do more push-ups. So I have great affection for this movie. I really, really do. And the irony was that when it was finished, my son had his 5th birthday, and we gave him a big party, and the studio very nicely gave me a screening room, and I got popcorn for him, and I got soda, and we all sat down to watch it, and he was asleep in the first 10 minutes of the film. And he's now 35, and I don't think he's ever seen it. So the moral is, don't make a movie for your kid. Are you writing a letter to home?
Sort of. Pel que fa a Cutthroat Island, és una pel·lícula horrorosa. Va costar més de 100 milions de dòlars i en va recaudar francament molt pocs. Per fer-la ens vam estar 7 mesos de rodatge a Malta. Era l'època en què el director i la protagonista estaven casats, eren una parella de molt d'èxit i els donaven tot el que volien. El protagonista, a part de mi, que feia del dolent, era Matthew Muldoon, i no tenien molta cosa a fer, molt de poder de decisió, perquè tenint en compte que l'actriu principal dormia amb el director, no ens donava molt de marge. De fet, ens anaven retallant els papers un cop rere l'altre, la qual cosa, en certa mesura, potser va ser una sort. Sens dubte, és una de les pitjors pel·lícules de tota la història cinematogràfica i potser també té la seva gràcia haver-hi treballat. Pel que fa a Masters of the Universe, m'encantava. Era una pel·lícula molt dolenta també, però una pel·lícula molt dolenta d'una manera fantàstica, com ho puguin ser les butaques barates d'un cinema. M'encantava el meu personatge de Skeleton. En aquella època el meu fill tenia 4 anys, He-Man era el seu personatge preferit i quan em van proposar que fes el personatge de Skeleton, la veritat és que no m'ho vaig pensar 2 vegades. Vam reescriure durant 2 mesos el meu paper. Jo volia fer un Skeleton fantàstic, volia que fos increïble per al meu fill. Com va dir una vegada un filòsof, intentaré reproduir la cita, parleu-me de la soledat de l'home si és igual a la soledat del mal. Tornant a la pel·lícula, tots sabíem que el que estàvem fent era una poca soltada, però igualment ens hi vam implicar. Recordo un dels membres del repartiment, per exemple, que feia abdominals just abans de cada sessió de rodatge. Quan la pel·lícula es va estrenar, el meu fill ja tenia 5 anys, van ser molt amables, em van cedir una sala de projecció i vaig portar el meu fill, li vaig comprar unes crispetes, un refresc, el vaig asseure al meu costat i al cap de 10 minuts de la pel·lícula es va quedar adormit. Ara té 35 anys el meu fill i la veritat dubto que hagi arribat a veure mai la pel·lícula. El missatge és no facis mai una pel·lícula pel teu fill.
Tengo 2 preguntas para usted, señor Langella. La primera es si nos puede decir algo de qué va su siguiente película, La Femme Rising, y saber si la obra de teatro que hizo recientemente por la que ganó el Tony, The Father, podría ser llevada al cine.
So 2 questions. On the one hand, your next film, which is called La Femme Rising. Can you tell us what it is about? As for The Father, which has been in the theater, do you think it could be giving any award? What do you think?
Do I want?
No, it's possible to adapt to the cinema, The Father.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lapham Rising is my next film, and it is based on a novel by a man called Roger Rosenblatt, who's a great satirical writer for the New York Times and other distinguished publications, and it's the story of an old man. Everything I do now is the story of an old man, and he's living in a house in the Hamptons in Long Island of New York, which is beach, and he has a beautiful little shack of a house, and he has beautiful waterway, and a big, rich, incredibly wealthy man buys the property directly across from him and puts up a 6-story mansion and destroys the beauty of the community. And one of the great things about the movie is the script is that the man lives with a dog named Hector, and Hector speaks and talks to him. And the man who buys the property and puts up this hideous mansion, use your imagination, is not based on the gentleman who's currently President of the United States, but may as well be. And the other one was which?
About the theater.
Oh, yes, The Father. Yes, the author of The Father, a play I did on Broadway last year, would like to make a film of it and would like to direct it himself. He's French, His name is Florian Zeller, and he's had great success in the Paris theater and in Italy and in America. He's a brilliant young writer. So I hope to make that film too.
Pel que fa a la meva propera pel·lícula, està basada en una novel·la d'un gran escriptor satíric del New York Times que es diu Roger Rosenblatt. És la història d'un vell, últimament sempre faig papers de vell. Aquest senyor viu a The Hamptons i en una casa molt maca, amb una vista molt bonica, amb aigua i tot plegat. Però de sobte, un senyor molt ric compra el terreny que hi ha just al costat i construeix una casa de 6 plantes, amb la qual cosa desapareix completament la vista. Un altre personatge que surt a la pel·lícula és un gos, que té el protagonista, que té la particularitat de parlar. Jo no diré que es puguin trobar paral·lelismes entre el senyor ric que construeix la casa de 6 plantes, però potser sí que té alguna reminiscència a cert polític internacional. Pel que fa al teatre, a l'obra The Father, de Broadway, el seu director, que és francès, Florian Zeller, sí que té efectivament intenció de dur-la al cinema. De fet, aquesta obra ja ha estat un gran èxit als Estats Units, a París i a Itàlia.
Yes.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Langella. Congratulations for your performances through your career with characters like Nixon and Dracula and even Skeletor. I wanted to ask you a few questions about Masters of the Universe. You talk about doing the movie for your son. I am a few years older than your son, and when I first saw the movie, I didn't like it. But as I grew up, I started to appreciate it, like you do. And for me, the best of the movie is your performance of Skeletor. It is really strong, and when I was a child, it scared me. And I wanted to ask you a little about your son. If you just bring it that day to the set, or just saw the movie that day, or you bring it more days to the set, or even to Mattel to see the toys, as he was a fan of the toys. And also I want you to ask you about the movie, the pre-production. If you went to know the creators of the characters, to Mattel, or talk with them. And when the movie was released, if you felt that through the years it will become such a cult classic in a campy way, if you want to call it.
No, it is. No. I never brought my son to the set that I can recall, and I did tell him that I was going to show him the movie. But 4 or 5-year-old kids, to ask him to sit still for a big movie that way, he just didn't, and I don't even know as an adult if I can remember him ever seeing it. And as far as the Mattel people, I never met any of them at all. There's a retrospective on the film where everybody talks about making it. There were things I didn't know, which was they ran out of money on the last day. And the last day was meant to be Dolph and I doing the big sword fight, which was scheduled to shoot for 1 week. Very completely boarded by the director. Every shot went. When he hits me, I fall in a thing, I get him down. I mean, it was a very, very long sequence. And the morning we arrived to shoot it, they told him he had 4 hours, having told him he had a week. So I did a number of things, and then the really dangerous stuff was done by a double, and they were done that afternoon in a sequence that should have taken a much longer time. And that the end of The end of Masters of the Universe, where I come up out of the water and say, I'll be back, was shot maybe 2 months after the movie was finished. So, Gary just felt we needed something to bring me back, and now we're waiting 30 years now. So I'll be back. We're waiting 30 years for Skeletor to reappear. Although I have heard there is going to be a new version of Masters of the Universe. Yeah. I don't know what it's going to be. But I guess I could play it, couldn't I? Because you can't look any older than I looked in that movie. Yeah.
Doncs pel que fa la pregunta era pel que fa a Masters of the Universe. El company que preguntava deia que ella era més gran que el fill del senyor Langella quan va veure la pel·lícula i que no li va agradar, però va començar a valorar-la quan era més gran. Per a ell, el paper del senyor Langella és el millor de la pel·lícula. La pregunta era si havia dut el seu fill algun dia al rodatge, si l'havia portat a veure les joguines de Mattel, si havia conegut els creadors dels personatges, etc. Si s'imaginava que es convertiria en un clàssic. El senyor Langella ha respost que no va dur mai al rodatge al seu fill, costa molt als nens de 5-6 anys que s'estiguin quiets. Tampoc va conèixer mai el senyor Langella, l'equip de Mattel. En una retrospectiva de la pel·lícula va descobrir coses que no sabia, com per exemple que l'equip de la pel·lícula es va quedar sense diners. I n'és un bon exemple, una seqüència molt llarga que s'havia de rodar i que en principi s'havia de rodar en una setmana, perquè quan van arribar per rodar-la li van dir al director que només disposava de 4 hores per rodar-la. Al final de la pel·lícula també hi ha l'escena en què jo surto de l'aigua i exclamo «tornaré». Aquesta escena es va rodar aproximadament 2 mesos després d'haver acabat de rodar la pel·lícula. He sentit a dir que s'està preparant una nova versió de Masters of the Universe. Suposo que jo podria tenir el mateix paper perquè no semblo pas més vell del que era aleshores.
Hello. Nice talking to you. I got questions about you, about the Ninth Gate and your wonderful Eva role of Boris Balkan. I got 2 questions. What is the best memories you have of the filming? And the last one, for your point of view, what happens at the end?
The Ninth Gate is a film I made in Paris with Roman Polanski and Johnny Depp and Lena Olin. And oddly enough, my best memory of that film was not, although I enjoyed it and Johnny immensely, was the first day of rehearsal. Johnny and I and Roman went into a room, a studio office in some office building. And we sat down, and I had just gotten off a plane from Paris, from America, and I was very jet-lagged and very tired, and I hadn't eaten anything. And we put the script down, and I turned to somebody and said, would you mind running across and getting me a ham and cheese sandwich? I don't care anything, I just have to eat. And when I turned around, Johnny wasn't there. So then I thought, okay, now he's the big star of the movie, I'll be happy to wait for him. So I sat and waited, and Roman and I talked about his scene, and then Johnny walked in with my sandwich and a drink. The moment I asked for it, he ran out the door and got it, and I said to him, why did you do that? You're Johnny Depp, you're a great big star. And he said, you're hungry, you know. And then we had a wonderful relationship during the film. I had some ability, I don't know why, but I had something in my sense of humor was exactly right for Johnny. So no matter what I did, he would find it really funny, and we would have a hard time getting through these dark scenes. And in the middle of one of our scenes, I had a temporary, they're all solid now, but I had a temporary bridge here, and it broke right in the middle of the scene, and I just put my tongue on it like that, and I held my tongue like that while he was speaking, and then I said, and I opened my mouth and my teeth fell into my hand. Well, he laughed about that for days and days. He kept saying to me, do it again, do it again. So I remember, truly, I made fun of a few actors earlier, and I mean it with no malice, really, even Woody Allen. It's sort of fun when you're looking back to kid these things. But I will say that of the many, many young actors I've worked with, actors that I really, really have had extraordinary relationships with and admired in so many ways, Adam Driver and James Marsden and just a lot. Johnny remains in my mind not only one of the greatest talents, but one of the greatest people I knew in those days. I don't know him now. I haven't seen him now. But I'll translate that, and then I will tell you one great funny story about Johnny Depp and Roman Polanski.
Bé, la pregunta era sobre els seus records del rodatge de La novena puerta. Comentava que va rodar la pel·lícula a París amb Polanski i amb Johnny Depp. Recorda que abans de començar a rodar la pel·lícula van traslladar-se tant ell com el senyor Polanski com Johnny Depp a un bloc d'oficines. Ell estava molt cansat, acabava d'arribar dels Estats Units, tenia jet lag, tenia molta gana i va demanar menjar. I aleshores, en girar-se, en Johnny Depp ja no hi era. Es va quedar xerrant amb Roman Polanski i al cap d'un moment va entrar a la sala Johnny Depp amb un entrepà per a ell i amb una beguda. Li va preguntar a Johnny Depp, però per què m'has portat tu, que ets una gran estrella del cinema? Per què m'has dut tu el menjar? I ell li va contestar, home, vostè tenia gana. Van tenir una relació fantàstica durant el rodatge. Per alguna raó a Johnny Depp li encantava el seu sentit de l'humor, era perfecte per a ell. Recorda una escena en concret en què el senyor Langella portava un pont a la boca i va resultar que li va caure aquest pont. Aleshores el que va fer durant el rodatge va ser posar-se la llengua a l'espai que li havia quedat, però aleshores li va caure la dent. Van estar rient durant dies amb en Johnny Depp sobre aquest tema. En Johnny Depp no deixava de demanar-li que tornés a fer-ho, que tornés a parlar posant-se la llengua on havia tingut el pont i la dent. Té un excel·lent record de tots els actors joves amb qui ha treballat i ha tingut una relació fantàstica i per a ell Johnny Depp és tant un gran talent com una gran persona.
At the very end of the movie, there's a scene where Johnny, I get him, I don't know, I put my foot on his head and he goes down in a hole, and then I come up and I'm about to kill him, and I get lit on fire, and I can't remember how I got lit on fire, but I did. And Roman Polanski liked to perform every scene all by himself before we did it. So he would gather the whole company around and sit in a chair with the script in front of him, and he would be me, and he would be Johnny, and he would be Lena Olin, and he'd play all the parts. And Johnny and I found this irreverently very funny. And we had just shot a scene, and Johnny and I were sitting on some high stairs looking down at Roman, who was acting and playing our parts and everything, and we were like two boys in church, you know, just trying to keep ourselves from laughing out loud. And I had a gun in my hand, a prop gun, and I kept clicking the gun very quietly. And the more I clicked it, the more Johnny thought it was funny. And Roman finally looked up and said, "Frank, stop clicking that fucking gun." And I said to Johnny, "Do you have any bullets?" And that was the end of it for Johnny and I. We could not stop laughing. And the fact is, a year later, I got a little package in the mail from Paris from Johnny. He had recorded it entirely, because he had an earphone in. That's how he knew his lines, from an earphone. And he had a recording of everything, the two of us quietly laughing with Roman in the background, and it's worth its weight in gold. And by the way, Roman asked me to do a film with him again, and I wished I could have done it. I couldn't. At the time, I couldn't do it, but I would work for him again in a minute. He was wonderful, wonderful to work with, as is Johnny, really. One of the greatest actors of our time.
Al final hi ha una escena en què jo tinc el peu a sobre del cap d'en Johnny Depp, més o menys, és una cosa així, em disposo a matar-lo i aleshores, de sobte, jo m'incendio. A Roman Polanski li agradava fer totes les escenes dels personatges abans que les féssim nosaltres. És a dir, feia el meu paper, el paper del Johnny, etc. I això a en Johnny Depp i a mi ens feia moltíssima gràcia. Recordo una ocasió en què estava efectivament Roman Polanski reproduint aquestes escenes abans que les féssim nosaltres, i nosaltres, en Johnny Depp i jo, estàvem en un lloc elevat contemplant-nos-ho. Érem com dos nens a missa intentant aguantar-se el riure. Jo tenia una pistola de 13 i mentre Roman Polanski assajava les escenes jo no parava de prémer el gatell i feia soroll, fins que va arribar un punt que Roman Polanski em va dir «Fes el favor de parar». I aleshores li vaig dir a Johnny Depp «Què tens bales?». Allò ens va fer morir de riure. Fins i tot Johnny Depp em va enviar un enregistrament on hi havia totes les coses que havíem rigut pel que feia a Roman Polanski. I per cert, Roman Polanski em va demanar que treballés en una altra pel·lícula seva. Malauradament no vaig poder, però m'encantaria tornar-hi a treballar. És un gran director, un dels grans de tots els temps, igual que Johnny Depp és un dels grans actors.
Hola, buenas. Yo quería preguntarle por una película que precisamente vimos en Sitges hace, creo que fue 4 o 5 años, que fue Robot and Frank, que personalmente a mis amigos y a nosotros nos encantó. Creo que es la película más bonita que nosotros hemos visto aquí en Sitges, probablemente. Y quería preguntarle por esa película y sobre el papel que él hizo, que nos pareció un papel magistral, sobre los recuerdos que tiene en esa película y sobre su papel. Era eso. Gracias.
Before you tell me, you should take the microphone in the back now because there are people who are waiting. All right, go ahead. I'll do it for you. Go ahead.
Thanks a lot. A few years ago, we could see in Sitges Robot and Frank. To me, it's one of the most beautiful films that have been seen in Sitges. What are your memories of that movie? What are your memories of your part in that movie?
I love Robot and Frank. I love Susan Sarandon, James Marsden, and Lily Taylor. Lily Tyler. Sorry, Lily. I loved making it. It took 18 days only to make that film. My brother was just beginning to show early signs of dementia. He passed away last month after 2 or 3 years of the disease. So it had a certain, it resonated with me very strongly. And I also felt that the movie was beautifully written and had a wonderful point of view. I have lovely memories of the film. My nephew, who's now a young executive in Hollywood, was then right out of college, and I got him a job running around getting coffee. And now he says things like, "Someday I'll get you a job, Uncle Frank." It was a pleasure to work with Susan. We only had her for 4 or 5 days, and Jimmy. I was there every day, but the other actors came and went because they had very busy schedules. I loved the movie. I love it as it turned out. Jake Schreier made a beautiful film. That and Starting Out in the Evening are my 2 favorite independent films. And one of my memories of that movie was the very last day of shooting with Susan, James, and Lily, was when they came to see me in the old age home, and I was already losing my mind. And Susan had to go quickly to Connecticut to get back into a movie with Bobby De Niro. James had to fly to California to start some project, and Lily had to get on an airplane. So we were racing to do the final scene with the four of us walking down a hallway. And it's a microcosm memory for me of what the excitement of movie making is, that there were four actors, all of whom had to go in different directions within an hour or two, and all four totally focused on the scene, and then waiting for the camera to change, sitting and stuffing sandwiches in our faces, and then going back and doing it. It's a great memory of the camaraderie of filmmaking.
Bé, la veritat és que em va encantar la pel·lícula, em va encantar treballar amb la Susan, amb en James, amb la Liv. És una pel·lícula que es va fer únicament en 18 dies i va coincidir justament amb el moment en què el meu germà va començar a mostrar símptomes de demència. Per tant, va ser molt significatiu per a mi. El meu germà, de fet, ens va deixar aquest mes passat. Penso que la pel·lícula està molt ben escrita, té un punt de vista preciós. Recordo companys com Liam Matthew, que en aquella època era un universitari, i feien bromes, i m'anava dient un dia t'aconseguiré feina, etc. Hi havia actors que anaven i venien perquè tenien altres compromisos. La Susan Sarandon només s'hi va estar uns dies, jo m'hi vaig estar més temps. En qualsevol cas, és una de les meves pel·lícules independents preferides. Recordo després del rodatge, quan el vam acabar, tant la Susan com en James com la Lily havien de marxar de seguida. I penso que aquella escena final d'aquests quatre actors, ells tres i jo, és com un record d'un microcosmos d'emocions. Resulta molt emocionant. Quatre actors que acaben de rodar junts, que han estat molt centrats en un tema i que marxaran d'una forma immediata en diferents direccions.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Langella. I want to ask you about... Langella. Perdona.
Every time you say Langella, I'm going to hit him.
Are you sure? Okay. Sorry about that. I wanna ask you about two movies. How was your experience working on that? First one, Brain Scan.
Oh my God!
It's for me that I saw it when I was a kid, and then I saw it again just to study the how it was written. I think it's amazing, but I want to know about your experience. And the second one is The Box, and how I was working with Richard Kelly. So I wanna.
Well,
thank you.
I'd actually forgotten Brain Scan. I forgot it. And maybe there was a reason I forgot it. I know that the movie came to me, and I was on a plane within 24 hours because my agent at the time represented Eddie. What? Yes, Eddie Furlong, and the actor who was going to play my role got sick or fell out or something. So I was on a plane very quickly and shot it very quickly, and fell in love with Eddie, who was 8 or 9 at the time, maybe a little older than that. So I don't have much memory of shooting it other than it was very quick, and I loved the whole idea of Brain Scan. I don't think I've seen it, so I can't comment on what the result was. And what was the second part of the question?
About The Box.
Oh, I think The Box is one of the most underrated films made. I love it, and I think I discussed this with someone before. I think Richard Kelly has been unfairly criticized. I think it's so much better a film. It just wasn't Donnie Darko, and everybody wanted him to become the next great fantasy horror filmmaker. And they criticized him much too much for the movie before that, Southland. So when The Box came along, they were ruthlessly critical of him. He's an excellent filmmaker. I don't know where he is, and it encourages me to try to find him. I think he should make more movies. But it's an example of our profession. It's an example of how people maybe overpraised Donnie Darko and called it genius when it was just a very good movie. Was that Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yes.
Yeah. And so then when he didn't live up to their praise, they got mad at him. It wasn't his fault. It's I think a wonderful film.
La pregunta era sobre la seva experiència amb dues pel·lícules en concret, amb Brainscan i amb The Box. La veritat és que ja m'havia oblidat de Brainscan. Quan em va arribar la proposta, al cap de 24 hores jo ja estava agafant un avió per anar a rodar-la. Resultava que l'actor que feia el meu paper havia caigut malalt. Es va rodar molt ràpid aquesta pel·lícula. Em vaig enamorar completament de la criatura de 9 anys de la pel·lícula. Em sembla que no he arribat a veure la pel·lícula. Pel que fa a The Box, considero que és una pel·lícula que s'ha subvalorat i que van criticar molt injustament el seu director, a Richard Kelly. El motiu és que aquesta pel·lícula no era Donnie Darko i ells volien, la crítica volia que Richard Kelly fos el proper gran director del gènere. Richard Kelly és un cineasta excel·lent i crec que hauria de fer més pel·lícules. Aquest cas és un bon exemple del que passa força en el món del cinema. Jo penso que en el moment en què va sortir, en què es va estrenar Donnie Darko, es va sobrevalorar la feina de Richard Kelly. Era molt bona la pel·lícula, però potser sí que se'n va fer un gra massa. I quan després, amb la seva següent pel·lícula, Richard Kelly no va estar a l'alçada del que esperaven, aleshores se li van tirar a sobre.
Yes. That young man with the glasses. Yeah. Have a microphone?
Microphone?
Before, but it's okay.
Yeah. Next time you do these, you should have one person like here and one person like there. And she doesn't have to run all.
Buenas, señor Langella. Ahora mismo no sé si esa pregunta ya se la he hecho antes porque he llegado un poco tarde, pero de todas las versiones que han hecho de Drácula, ¿cuál le gusta más sin contar la suya?
Apart from your version of Dracula, what's your favorite Dracula movie?
We thought another Dracula, another one.
Nosferatu is one of my favorites, and the very first 1927 Dracula, the Bela Lugosi, of its kind. It's an extraordinary movie. I think it's a wonderful vampire film. Those are the ones. And what is the one we talked about? Is it Shrek? What's his Max Shrek, who make the other film? What are you doing?
Because it's
I can't remember the name of it, but it's also a wonderful film. But I would say Nosferatu is really, I don't use the word often, but a genius movie. Yeah. Yes.
Nosferatu seria, sens dubte, un dels meus favorits. També m'agrada molt la pel·lícula del 1927, amb Bela Lugosi. Crec que és una pel·lícula extraordinària de vampirs, però en tot cas jo diria que Nosferatu és una pel·lícula genial, tot i que no acostumo a fer servir gaire sovint aquesta paraula.
Somebody has the mic.
Thank you, Frank. I don't want to say your second name in any case. My question is not related with fantastic genre, but is one movie in particular. Is you named it a moment ago, is Starting Out in the Evening. about Andrew Wagner, and how was it work in independent film as a celebrity, and in particular with Andrew Wagner and Lauren Ambrose?
Starting Out in the Evening is in my top 5 of my films. I think it's a beautiful evocation of a man trying to live up to his talent and trying, that's what the title means, getting up every night and trying to start again, to keep on going, which is my philosophy as well. I loved working on it, particularly with an actress named Lily Taylor, who played my daughter. We had a very strong emotional connection. And there's a point to be made about these films, and that is, you don't need money and you don't need time to make a great movie. You need commitment and focus to make a great movie. Starting Out in the Evening was made for a $700,000 or $600,000 in 18 days on the credit card of the director, who borrowed a lot of the money from his uncle. And I went downstairs in between takes and bought sandwiches from the deli for the crew. And Robot and Frank had a much bigger budget, but it was still small. The point I'm trying to make is I've also been in films. I've told you Cutthroat Island, which cost $1 million and something, made no money at all. I've been in movies like 1492, The Conquest of Paradise with Gerard Depardieu, which also was Ridley Scott, one of the greatest directors. A disaster. Sometimes money and too much time can destroy a film. And the idea that you are putting a movie together with everybody in it pitching in, we didn't have any dressing rooms of our own. Lily Taylor and I changed in the back room of a heated apartment on the Upper West Side of Manhattan with a little sheet between us, quickly changing our clothes and talking, running our lines over the sheet and then getting on the set and doing it. I love that kind of movie making, and in the last 10 or 15 years I have, forgive the expression, taken the virginity of about 6 first-time directors, and that's a wonderful thing. Many actors I know, successful actors, won't work with first-time directors. They say, oh no, I have to have somebody who knows what he's doing. And the fact of the matter is, not many people in my profession really know what they're doing. They're sort of working by the seat of their pants, and this can be immensely successful people. You need heart, you need a point of view, you need a great script, and you need willing actors and a courageous director who wants to make something great, to make a film, a great film. You don't need money, and you don't need time. Unless, of course, you give all that money to me. Yeah, I think we do one more. Are we done? She's going to try.
Sobre la pel·lícula...
Be the last.
The last one.
Sobre la pel·lícula Starting Out in the Evening, la pregunta era què tal havia estat treballar en cinema independent? Doncs bé, és una de les meves pel·lícules preferides. És una preciosa evocació d'un home que intenta començar un cop rere l'altre, continuar sempre endavant, que és també la meva filosofia. En aquesta pel·lícula vaig treballar amb Lily Taylor, ella feia el paper de la meva filla i vam tenir una gran connexió. Jo crec que per fer grans pel·lícules no necessites temps ni diners, el que necessites és compromís i estar centrat. Aquesta pel·lícula va costar $600,000 i es va rodar en 18 dies. Aquests diners van sortir tots de la targeta de crèdit del director, que havia rebut un préstec, de fet, del seu tiet. Jo durant el rodatge baixava a la botiga i comprava entrepans per a tot l'equip. És el cas també de Robert and Frank, també va tenir un pressupost força reduït, si bé no tant com Starting Out in the Evening. En canvi, hi ha altres pel·lícules com Coaster Island que van costar molts diners, però en canvi van ser força desastroses. Jo penso que els diners i un temps excessiu poden acabar per destruir una pel·lícula. Fixeu-vos que fins i tot quan vam rodar aquesta pel·lícula Starting Out in the Evening no teníem ni camerinos per canviar-nos. Per tant, la Lili i jo ens canviaven l'un donant-li l'esquena a l'altre discretament, molt ràpid. La veritat és que en els últims 5 o 6 anys puc dir, si em permeteu l'expressió, que he desvirrat uns quants directors novells. Hi ha molts actors que no saben ben bé el que fan i jo crec que val molt la pena donar aquesta oportunitat als directors novells. Per fer una bona pel·lícula calen uns actors que realment s'aboquin a la feina. Calen directors que siguin valents. Els diners no són tan necessaris, a menys que me'ls doneu a mi.
Last one. Hello, Mr. Langella. It's an honor to be here and be able to ask you this question. I love your work, most recently The Americans. I think it's one of the best TV dramas of all time, and your work there is just amazing. Your scenes with Matthew Rhys and Kerry Russell are incredible. I wanted to ask, how do you approach a TV character as opposed to a movie character? Because in TV you don't have the whole character arc mapped out. You don't have all the scripts from the beginning. So how was this experience, and well, overall, how was working in The Americans? And last, can you tell me, maybe you can, but can you tell me if you'll be in the 7th and last season of the show?
Yes, I can tell you that I won't be in the last. He's left. He's gone back to Russia. It's fitting that this is the last question because that experience of working on The Americans recharged me in a way about what I believe you should be doing as an actor, which is simply telling the truth, whether you're in a television show or a movie or a play. There's really no difference. When you're younger, you think of all sorts of things that have nothing to do with really acting. Will I get a success? Will I win an award? Will I make money? Can I get the leading lady to go to bed with me? All that stuff that you deal with when you're young. Now, I think, what are the words? I must learn them. I must know what they mean, and then I must mean them when I say them. And that's really what acting is for me now. It's sort of been that way most of my life, but when you're younger, there are lots of other distractions, as I just explained to you. I think The Americans is a first-rate show. I've never seen it. I only know it is as a result of the working on it, but I've never watched it. And I enjoyed working with all those people. But the last thing I will say to you is how really genuinely touched I am by all of you today, and by having met this man, because you go along in your life working, and that's really what I do. I get up and I go to work. And you have in this afternoon mentioned so many films and so many things that I've done, some of which are distant in my mind that I've forgotten about her. And then you've awakened in me funny memories of wonderful people, some of whom are dead. And you've reminded me of what a noble profession acting is, of what a great privilege it is to be an actor. And to come to this festival when I knew very little, and to have been so welcomed by you, and to have you be so committed, not to me, but committed to the idea of good films and good work, and even have the sense of humor to talk about the ones that don't work. It's been a joyous experience for me, and I thank you very, very much. I particularly thank Angel, but that's my last.
La pregunta era sobre The Americans, com havia enfocat un personatge televisiu i també si estaria a la 7ª temporada d'aquesta sèrie. La resposta és la següent. Ja li puc dir que no hi seré a la 7ª i última temporada, en què hi ha el retorn a Rússia. Jo crec que la seva pregunta encaixa molt, és molt escaient com a última pregunta, perquè jo crec que el fet d'haver estat aquí m'ha reafirmat en el que crec que és ser actor, en el que és la interpretació. Per a mi la interpretació és dir la veritat, tant és si estàs treballant per a la televisió o per al cinema. No hi ha cap diferència. De jove hi ha moltes distraccions, et planteges moltes altres coses, però ara mateix, bàsicament, el meu propòsit quan tinc un paper és llegir-me'l, comprendre'l i ser capaç de transmetre el que conté. Jo no he vist la sèrie The Americans, però la veritat és que he gaudit moltíssim treballant-hi. I us volia dir una última cosa. Estic emocionadíssim d'estar amb tots vosaltres. Ha estat un honor conèixer l'Àngel. Heu esmentat tantíssimes pel·lícules que m'han portat tants records. Hi havia pel·lícules que fins i tot jo ja ni recordava. M'heu servit per recordar-me la noblesa d'aquesta professió, de la interpretació. Moltes gràcies per la vostra rebuda i pel vostre compromís amb el cinema.